What's going on, everyone? It's Super here and welcome to another Injustice 2 video. Now today we're going to be doing sort of a little breakdown on this new trailer that we got earlier today, pretty much going in depth and going into a lot of gear information and actually showing off a ton of gear for multiple characters. So I'll just have the trailer playing in the background, but what I'm going to use, I'm not actually looking at that. I have a notepad here, and I'm going to use some screenshots to pretty much talk a little bit about some of the highlights for me. So the first one is the obvious one, right? We get to see the Fortress of Solitude right at the beginning of the game. Like, it's just for a split second, but we get to see the Fortress of Solitude, which is pretty cool. Moving on here, I'm probably going to go in order. That's how I ordered these, you know, little highlights here. The first design that we see is actually the Injustice 1 Batman design with a different color. I think it looks, you know, it looks better in this game. I was never really a fan in the first game of like the Batman default design, but I think it looks better in this game, obviously, as everything does. You know, the game looks beautiful. Moving on to Superman and Batman's intro. So we get to see both characters coming in while the gear is changing on their body, and we get to see multiple different colors and different gear that they have. So the first one that I want to talk about is the Batman Beyond color type for Batman. We get to see a dark black with the red emblem and the red trimming, and I definitely think this is a Batman Beyond style of shader. And I can't wait to see if there's actually Batman Beyond type gear, because then of course you could pair the gear all together and you could create a Batman Beyond set with this specific color. Oh, it's gonna be so good. But it definitely reminded me, the color definitely reminded me of Batman Beyond. You know, it had that feel to it. And Superman actually has an interesting one here where he has some purple stuff, baby. He has purple stuff shader. And this one gave me a vibe of Bizarro. Not really everything about it, but it definitely gave me a, you know, nod to Bizarro with this purple stuff coloring. And of course you get to see the white and the, or it's more like silver, I guess, like silver and red. Oh man, the shaders are looking amazing for these specific characters. Moving on to Catwoman coming in. She has a little intro here, and you get to see different styles of gear plus shaders that Catwoman has. And the main one that I want to focus on that looks really cool is the ninja looking costume for Catwoman. You could definitely tell that her headgear is going to have a mask on, and she has I believe she has a purple coloring. And everything about this specific gear, she has like purple coloring and like silver outlines, and it looks so amazing. She looks like a, you know, ninja cat, and she looks great. That one's definitely my favorite one that I've seen so far for Catwoman out of all the ones that were demonstrated in this trailer. Moving on here, we get to see Bane coming in and showing off his gear via an intro, and I gotta tell you guys, Deadshot and Bane, I haven't seen one set of gear or gear demonstration for these characters that I don't like, because Bane and Deadshot by far have the best gear so far that I've seen. Not only because you could get really creative with their costumes, and I knew as soon as I saw Bane's redesign, hell yeah, this character is gonna have some of the best gear, and that definitely holds true. Because one of the highlights about Bane is that you get to change the color of his venom, the way it highlights, the way it glows. You get to change it from red. We get to see red at the end of the trailer. You could change it to blue. Of course, the green is there. So Bane is definitely one of the best looking characters in the game so far as gear. Same thing with Deadshot. So we get to see 3 amazing gear sets for Bane and the way he looks. Moving on here, like I mentioned, some more Deadshot stuff. I'll put screenshots up of like Deadshot's amazing costume. The first one we see is of him aiming his gun at, you know, just pretty much scoping in, right? And his shader looks awesome. At the end of the trailer, we get to see, you know, one of the best helmets or masks that he has, which I'll talk about when we get there, I guess. But yeah, Deadshot gear looks just absolutely amazing. And moving on here, we get to see One of the costume pieces, or one of the gear pieces that a lot of people were curious about if it was going to make it into the game, which is the classic Supergirl skirt. And we actually see it firsthand here. It is confirmed Supergirl is going to have her classic skirt. Of course, they had to have it, right? She has the short shorts on, she has the pants on, and of course she had to have the classic Supergirl skirt. So that's definitely going to be a popular one that a lot of people use, including myself. So far, the short shorts and the skirt are going to be the main pieces of gear that I use for Supergirl if I do actually unlock those, because, you know, the skirt is a classic. Next scene here. Oh, okay, we get to see a couple of shaders and chest symbols for Superman. So let's start off with the shaders here. We actually get to see the black Superman costume, which he wears after he gets brought back to life, or he comes back to life. He wasn't really dead, but when he awakens after his, apparent death to Doomsday, he wears this black suit. And for this specific shader, it's called Sacrificial Sun. That's what it's called. The black shader for Superman is called Sacrificial Sun. We also get to see a green shader, which is called Son of Jor-El. And we get to see two different chest pieces for Supes. One which was in the beta, which is the Red Sun crest. And the other one is the Ultimate Power crest, and that one looks like a lightning bolt, and it looks pretty cool. So moving on here, we get to see the modern age alternate shader for Catwoman. So we definitely saw a lot of different shaders that said alternate. So what that leads me to believe is you're gonna have the option between the regular shader and alternate shader, and the reason they did that is just in case you run into somebody with the same shader as you won't look identical. You'll have the alternate version of that specific shader. So for example, if I have, the Sacrificial Sun Superman, and I run into someone else with the Sacrificial Sun Supermans, one of us is going to get the alternate version of that specific shader. So they have the alternate as one slot and the regular as one slot, just in case you run into the same shader, because I know there's going to be shaders that are going to be insanely popular. So we get to see the modern age alternate shader for Catwoman, which is the dark purple. I'm assuming the regular default one is going to be like a more light purple, a more highlighted purple, not so much dark, but it's going to be a little bit brighter. So next scene here, we get to see, so we get to see Cyborg and Cheetah, and I believe Captain Cold and Blue Beetle, just in the character select screen. Once you select the characters, they do a little animation, they hit themselves and stuff. So we get to see Cyborg and Cheetah, and I found two of their specific gear costume loadouts that they showed. Pretty interesting. We got to see a blue shader for Cyborg that looks really cool. It's like dark blue, looks awesome. There was one piece of gear where Cheetah actually had, like cheetah ears. She had like a helmet, or a hat, helmet, whatever you want to call it, but she had like cheetah ears. So Catwoman, instead of having the cat ears, Cheetah has the cheetah ears. And we get to see a really cool mask for Cyborg that really reminded me of Doctor in Dark from the EX series of Street Fighter. I don't know if you guys ever played the Street Fighter EX series, but Doctor in Dark was one of the best looking characters in my opinion. One of my favorite characters growing up in the EX series, and that mask really reminded me of that specific character. Moving on, we get to see Deadshot in a clash with Catwoman, both of them having really cool pieces of gear on, which I'll put the screenshot of. And the final shot that we see is of Deadshot during his game-winning pose, and he's rocking a bronze skull mask, and it looks really intimidating. Just imagine he's an assassin. You see that if you somehow get into contact with him, because of course he's probably gonna be far away from you, sniping the hell out of you. But just if you come into contact with him and you see that mask, really, really intimidating to have that bronze skull mask. So yeah, like I mentioned, Deadshot, Bane, so far the highlights in my opinion of the gear, really showcasing you know, some of the stuff that you could do and how different the characters could look with this specific gear. Deadshot, Bane, 2 thumbs up in my book, along with most of these characters. So that's gonna be it, guys. Let me know who was the highlight for you as far as the gear in the specific trailer that we saw. But that's gonna be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys next time. What's going on, guys? It's Super here. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you guys subscribe or check out any of these videos linked at the top. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time.